When I go up there now, it's really, I have to really concentrate and remember what it was like. Half of that space up there was portable buildings. I think there was 9 or something, 9 or 10. Those are gone. Have a new playground that's inside this kind of commons area where the classrooms can go to. There's a new gymnasium there with a stage that gets an amazing amount of use from the community. Taft Elementary updated the windows, updated some stuff there. That building probably didn't get as much work done to it. I mean, it got the portables replaced, but we had moved Taft Elementary up out of the tsunami zone prior to the bond, and we had already done some work, some of the major work in that building. Taft High School, we made a huge attempt to fix the problem from the last bond, which was the leaky roof. I think there was, last I talked to Rich, I think they've got that pretty well under control. And when they put the new roof on, there was still a few places, and it had to do, I think, with the way the building was designed and the way the wind blew. But the company we used did a really good job and came back and fixed them. Ironically, when we got the roof fixed, we then found out that some of the water coming in wasn't from the roof, it was actually from windows. But the roof had leaked and come down the wall, and it just looks like it's all coming from the roof. Well, we got that fixed, and water's still coming in, so we had to do some work around the windows. Moving on down the coastline, Sam Case, got 2 new classrooms, got a new gymnasium, pretty much had all the classrooms reworked. Beautiful new school. The middle school didn't really get a whole lot. We had a covered play shed. It was one of the newer buildings from the previous bond. Newport High School, I think they still put the buckets in the halls now only for nostalgia, but it had portable buildings there taken away, and new band room and some new science rooms, and then got the roof fixed. Rich was pretty adamant to put a peak roof on it, so it wasn't a flat roof where all the water sat on top. So yeah, in fact, I had to go into Newport High. It must have been middle of September, so I can't remember what I was headed. I had to meet with a teacher there, and it was like, oh, this is different, because the halls were all done and there wasn't the stain in the ceiling. Toledo Elementary is probably one of the best parts of the bond, I think. Used to be 11 or 12, 15, some huge amount of portable buildings that were put there when the school burned 30 some years ago, and everybody thought that the last bond was supposed to take care of those. I mean, it was very long overdue. It is like I said, it is just a gorgeous school. Moving up to Toledo High, again, it didn't get quite the makeover that Toledo Elementary did, but it was a huge makeover. People talk about Walport getting a new high school. I think the area that actually got the most bang was Toledo. You look at the grade school, then you look at the high school, and the addition where the 7th and 8th graders were, the expansion, changing of the gym, the redoing of some stuff inside, and the lowering of the parking lot. You no longer feel like you're walking into a dungeon. To me, it just opened up the whole thing. And then the landscaping out in front, it's like those 2 places are just awesome. Coming down to Walport, Crestview got just probably some minor stuff, some remodeling stuff done. Although if people remember, when we were in the middle of doing projects, we discovered mold, and we had mold in 22 of the 24 classrooms, and we had to call school off, and we tore walls out. In fact, at one point you could stand in one wing outside and look through that wing and look through the next wing, because the walls were all torn up and had to be rebuilt. So there was close to $1 million worth of work that we ended up doing at Crestview, which changed it changed the complexion. We expanded the library a little bit, we made a music room, and because the high school was moving up, we made some of the rooms kind of dual purpose, so they could be high school, grade school type rooms like art and those kinds of things. Now, all the money paying for that mold didn't come out of the bond, but some of it came out of construction excise tax and some other places, but we were able to. It was nice when we had all the crews working for us. And then we get to Walport High, which is kind of where we're sitting now, and it was a brand new school. And one of the greatest stories is the committee that was put together to come up with the design. I think there were over 37 different floor plans looked at. And of the 37, there was even like 35 A, B, C, and D. I mean, there were all these different things. And if you come in and you actually look at how the building's laid out, you will notice that it is very, very similar to the high school that was down in the floodplain. It's almost identical. It just expanded out a few places, the commons area, the gym and things.
Identical, but
All right, when I say identical, I'm thinking identical on the floor plan. However, the halls are wider, there's technology built in, it doesn't flood. And then probably when people look at it, it was the only project that was built from scratch, and all the athletic fields and everything around it. So the complex is just gorgeous. Pretty much everybody I talked to down in South County is pretty excited about how it all turned out. We're actually talking about upgrades to the athletic facilities and turf fields, and part of the turf field came into conversation because we had done one in conjunction with the city of Lincoln City. And what we found up there was that field gets used by the community constantly, and so that made sense. And then where we're having to build a new facility in Walport, it's like, okay, let's check the cost. Well, it didn't cost anymore to put in a turf field over a regular field. And so when you look at maintenance and being able to use it, it just makes sense, especially in our climate, to do that. Well, then there's this thing that happens in our county, this thing of politics, and one area getting something that another area doesn't get. So then we looked at, okay, so what would it be to finish out Newport and Toledo with the turf fields? And we also included baseball and softball. And so when you look at it was probably the thing that I heard the most about. Trying to have a Cadillac program and you're spending all this money putting rugs in. And it's like, well, right now, our fields get used a lot. And back to the economic development piece, I had a business owner out in Toledo tell me the year after the first baseball season where we had him in out there, he called me on the phone and he goes, I was adamantly opposed to the turf fields. I even voted against the bond because of it. But my business has improved because games don't get rained out in the spring. People from the valley have to come. It gets rained out over there. They come here and play. My restaurant gets more business. He said, now I'm all in favor of it.
After he voted against it.
After he voted against it, which, you have to admire a person like that will actually do that. Calling, hey, I was wrong. This actually worked out.